Hello and welcome to Triumph Women Beating the Odds. My name is Okello Sharon Nagenjwa. This is where we tell the stories of women who are shattering glass ceilings and beating the odds. Carolyne Acen, aka Afotri, the unapologetic poet, is a mother, poet, spoken word artist, women's rights activist, and the founder of Echo Poets, an all-female performing poetry collective that spotlights the African woman's story. She is the author of Dry Parched Land and Married to Society. Her work focuses on the stories of African women. She writes to inform, educate, inspire, empower, and change the narrative. Her work has been published in various magazines all over the world. Oh, hi, Caro.
Hi, Sharon.
Oh God, your poetry is so unapologetic, sister. Just a brief introduction about yourself.
All right. Carolyne Acen, the unapologetic poet of poetry. And my work is mostly emphasizing on women, you know, our stories and, you know, activism too. Because I believe women, you know, have so many stories, but somehow they tend to rewrite our stories the wrong way. So that's what mostly my poetry focuses on.
Okay, yeah. I'll go straight to the point. Have you ever been abused doing this work?
Oh yes, yeah.
Tell me about it.
Okay, like most of the abuse came online. You know, like you write about something and someone comes and they directly attacks you.
Give me an example.
Okay. Like one time, I think last year, I wrote about the woman's body.
Okay.
And some people in the audience thought it was an African.
Yes.
You know, why are you talking about the woman's body? It's not supposed to be spoken of.
Yes.
It was something like a taboo.
Okay.
So I had all these mixed reactions of angry men, you know, really, really agitated.
Yes.
And of course, for a moment, I was a bit offended. And, you know, you have to step back a bit and, you know, think about it. But then I was like, no, why are they trying to silence me? This is who we are.
Yeah.
Why should they silence the woman when she's talking about herself? Our body is our own. Yeah, so that kind of abuse, you know, I can't talk about the language, of course, but yes.
It was devastating.
Yeah.
So I'll just, why did you start this? People leave school to become lawyers and doctors and poetry is normally just a literature that guides you to becoming a lawyer, to becoming a writer and all that stuff. But you specified on poetry.
Oh yes, that's a question I've come across.
Yeah.
Okay, before I became fully a poet, I had a job.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to go to work.
Yeah.
You know, kind of thing. But I started becoming uncomfortable. You know, like I was writing still, I was attending literary events, I was submitting, but a part of me felt like I wasn't doing enough. So when I used to go to the poetry spaces, even literature, you mostly find male dominated. I'm like, where are the women voices? Why is a man performing a poem about a woman? Why shouldn't it be us? So within that period, of course, I sat on the idea, you know, let me quit today. Next year. Next year.
Yeah.
Then it hit me one time and I just said, this is it.
And I'm done.
Yeah, I'm done. So from that period, I started, you know, appearing more for poetry events. Then I started the all-female poetry collective. Yeah, I made a call out on Facebook and they responded. And we started meeting and, you know, planning, writing. Yes. And I started feeling more fulfilled, you know. And within that period, I also saw many more women join the spaces. And that was really full for me. Yes. You know, you see that change you're trying to make. And I felt good about it.
Okay. That's amazing. That's amazing. So what was your first piece?
My first piece, yeah. The hypersexualization of the African woman.
Just give me...
You want me to do
Just give me a brief about it.
Okay, this piece was mostly, it's also about our bodies.
Yeah.
I tried to put in the colonial aspect of how the African woman's body is perceived, with other races, and also how it's abused, and how society focuses more on the outlook of the woman than on what she can, bring to the table, like her brains, maybe how she thinks, and what she can contribute to the society. So the poem is mostly protest.
Okay. I'll go to the question that is normally asked by many when they hear women talking about empowerment and protests and all that. Who hurt you?
Okay, who hurt me?
Yeah.
Okay, I have got that question before. No one hurt me, because if I was hurt, I think it would be much more worse. But I think it's what I was able to experience, and also what other women were also experiencing. That is what brought out, these other parts, in the expression and poetry.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not directly. Yeah.
No one hurt you directly.
No.
Okay. Because we all have these particular stories and do stuff because we've been hurt. There's a motivation. So if no one hurt you, what's your motivation?
My motivation is seeing women being appreciated and being comfortable in who they are. It's a whole different, radiance when you walk, when you meet a woman and, she is proud. She's confident. She's able to stand tall and say, yes, this is who I am.
Yeah.
No one is putting me down because of this. And I'm not defined by what everyone thinks about me. It gives a certain joy. So that's where I also get my, my gratitude from. And also it does things to me, because by also sharing that part about myself, when I write and, you empower and you're trying to inspire, I'm also doing something for myself. I'm like, this woman is already inspired by what I have done.
Yes.
What is it doing to me? I should also be able to radiate that kind of energy, feel it, and also be empowered also.
Now brings me to this. You're married, huh?
No.
You have children?
One child.
One child. Does your personal experience, like when your child pisses you off, and children can do that? Yeah? Like, do you turn it into poetry?
When the child pisses me off?
Yeah.
No, I haven't yet done that. But I've written poems when a man pisses me off.
A man you're dating pisses you off?
Okay, man I'm dating, or even someone I'm working with, put it in a poem before.
Yeah, because that's the problem with dealing with artists. When you're dealing with artists, just know that anytime you take a wire out of them, a song is coming, or a writing is coming. So I just want to give me a glimpse of that experience.
Okay. Okay, there was one time. I went to perform, and this friend of mine, he rubbed me off the wrong way. He said something that was sexist.
Okay.
About women.
Yeah.
And I was irritated. It stayed on my mind the whole night. I'm like, I need to do something.
Yeah.
So the next day I wrote a piece about it, and I put it out there in all the language I could use. And I realized how angry I was actually, because he read the piece, and of course he reacted, and also his friends reacted, and then it became a whole debate. It was about body shaming.
Wow.
It was a whole debate, and being that kind of debate, when you're debating with a poet, you can't back down easily.
Yes.
So from that, we decided to create even a poetry show about it.
About that experience.
Yeah.
Wow. And did the person ever find out that you did a show on them?
Oh yeah. Because I was deliberate, because they appeared for the poetry show. I told the ladies, we need to have a poetry show where we, about body shaming, and we shall do it at a pool. We wear swimsuits, and also the audience, those who want to swim. So it was like also trying to put a message across, because it was really, really a huge topic. So at the end of the event, I did tell him, I'm like, by the way, you remember this conversation you had, what you said? What do you think?
This was about
Yeah.
you. Okay. Well, there are many fields that we tend to forget, and we don't realize that there are people who are making a living out of it. For instance, when we talk artists, we think of musicians, we think of dancers. We forget that there's an aspect of poetry. We have authors and all that. We have gymnastics, there are particular fields that are completely forgotten. But today, that's why we brought to you Carolyne. So if you have a talent of writing, a talent to do poetry, do not sit back on it, because there are people who are earning from it. We'll be right back out of this break. Welcome back from that short break, and my name is Okello Sharon Nagenjwa. That's for those who have just joined us. We are with Carolyne, the unapologetic poet. That is our poetry. And she is making a living out of poetry. We want to understand why she chose this field and how she is making a living out of it, because I mean, it's peculiar. There's certain fields that are straightforward. It's a business. You sell something, you get back. But how do we make a living out of poetry?
Good question.
Yeah.
I make a living out of poetry through book sales. If I publish a book, I can sell the books, and also through performances. When we have poetry performances, we normally charge an entrance fee.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is also another way. And also, sometimes when you submit your poetry to a magazine, they pay you for the submission.
Okay.
And then also events, like, well, there are many times, of course, like musicians hold events and they put a poetry segment or an NGO event or some kind of activism, you know. They invite a poet, and that's how you also get paid for your work. Like, okay, more like a musician. You perform and you get paid for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much is, on average, like hiring you to perform?
As a poet?
Yes.
Okay, it depends on the event and how long I'm going to perform. I'll first say this: Uganda doesn't pay poets really much, or there are some scenarios where poets don't even get paid, because it's still, you know, that art that people do not understand very well.
Yes.
So there is always that, you know. But if someone is hiring me to perform,
yes,
like maybe a high-end event, I can start from 1 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I want Carolyne to perform, I must have 1 million shillings.
Yeah.
At a high-end event.
Yeah.
But if it's a low event, can be like a 500K.
Yeah.
Can it pass?
It can pass.
But now, Carolyne, my worry is the sustainability. Do you have a side hustle that deals with your day-to-day expenses?
No, currently I don't have that kind of side hustle.
Yeah.
Like when I decided to make that decision, I wanted to be fully a poet, because I did understand what I was getting into. Of course, there are other periods where you're not like just earning from gigs. Maybe you travel, and then maybe you're able to, you know, get paid for that period you're away.
Okay.
Yeah, so it caters for also that period. So I really, when I decided to go fully as a poet, I meant it.
You went full blown, and come what may, no matter. But don't you ever get tempted to get back into employment?
No. I was in employment for what? Close to 14, 15 years. Waking up at 6, being at work at 7, leaving work at 7 p.m., working through Monday to Saturday. Okay. And I reached that point, I'm like, this isn't working for me. So I experienced my form of freedom when I stepped away from
former employment.
Yeah.
Okay. So now that you're out of employment, and now you're fully fledged in poetry, only. What is your day like every day?
Every day. Okay, I don't have like a normal,
You don't have a 9 to 5 like
exactly.
yes.
I have a child, so usually I'm up by 5 because I have to get her ready for school. Then after that, I'll get on my computer. I'll start writing. Sometimes, of course, not just writing, it's research work, because also poetry requires reading. And after that, if I have submissions, a project to write about, I'll do it. That can be in the morning, maybe up to like noon. Then from there, I can read. I'll just read. Then if I have a meeting in town or I have to, engage, sometimes I do Zoom meetings with other, creative artists. If there is nothing like that, I'll just step back into writing again. Yeah. So most of my day is writing, reading. Unless, of course, I'm working on a performance and I have to rehearse. That is different. Yeah.
Okay. So would you say that getting out of formal employment and doing your own thing has eased your life?
Yes, completely. It just really eased my life in ways like I'm no longer as stressed as I used to be. Yeah, so I'm also able to plan for my day. Because if I don't plan for my day, I won't get anything done. And also there are moments when you get opportunities and you can't move because of your boss. Now I can just move. And I think the best part is it also has allowed me during this period that I work from home to be able to spend more time with my daughter. Yeah.
Wow. Wow, Carolyne. So for a young poet out there, Carolyne, what would you advise her to do if she's starting out on this?
I think for a young poet, I'd really encourage them to not rush into it completely. Because you need a lot of mental preparation to make this kind of decision. There are programs for young poets. In schools, we normally have like engage with them sometimes, like poetry competitions or something. They can write and submit their work with the guidance of their teachers, or they can also join into poetry events. And then also I'd encourage them to still maintain the careers they choose to do. Because within poetry, you also have lawyers who are poets and doctors who are poets. Sometimes we meet different professions, but they're also poets. So I wouldn't really encourage them to just dive in. It has to be a decision they make after years of evaluation.
Great. And now, we all have talents, but we also know that we have chosen career lines throughout our education, say lawyers, doctors, journalists, and all that. But behind that, there's a talent. So maybe yours is poetry, and you want to make a living out of it. Just like Carolyne said, take your time. Don't dive into it, because at the end of the day, you want to put food on your table. So until it has reached a point where it is paying back and putting food on your table, relax. You can still do your job, have your career line, but also do poetry. Get in poetry clubs. You can join Carolyne's poetry club. So you can do that concurrently. Don't just rush into getting and putting your talent out there, and you want to make a living out of it, which is a beautiful thing, but take it slow. One thing at a time, so that at the end of the day, you can be able to reap out of it and avoid getting depressed because you've had too many expectations about one particular thing and failed to achieve. So don't forget to follow us on our socials at Girl from Oyam and at Triumph Women UJ. Until next Saturday, same time, my name is Okello Sharon Nagenjwa.